Hello, I'm Justin Long, Director of Investor Advisory at Class Research.
And I'm Sean Howell, Insights Director at Class Research.
Joining us today is Steve Bernstein and Dale Vandemark, both partners at McDermott, Will & Emery, who both co-head their digital health practice. We appreciate you both joining us today, and as we discuss our upcoming 2022 Digital Health Investment Symposium held in Park City, Utah.
Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Happy to join.
Well, you both have attended this event for several years now and have been a really long-standing, loyal sponsor. And so as we continue that partnership and relationship, as we look at our upcoming health conference, it's important, I think, to look back historically and say, why is DHIS so important to healthcare?
Well, we think it's important because DHIS brings together the key players in a smaller, nicer environment. Some of these bigger conferences are gigantic and they're fantastic for the purposes, but DHIS really gets to the bottom line. It has key players there, and the players are willing to talk about the key issues and really put out the key solutions to the problems and do it not just in a superficial way, but in a very practical way. And we really enjoy the detailed conversations because I think the whole industry is dealing with complex issues, complex problems, and you need to have the time and the right people and the expertise to talk about the details and the things that are almost imponderables that you can't solve at the moment, but what are going to be the building blocks to solve for those in the future. And DHIS brings together the right people to do that.
No, appreciate that, Steve. I mean, there is demand to increase, right, the volume of attendees at this event, but the unique ability is absolutely having the right people and still maintaining that intimate sentiment.
Steve, what do you hope happens at DHIS, and what do you look to take away from DHIS?
Well, I'm not only hopeful, I am confident that the roundtables and the discussions that you have at DHIS that I've been honored to be a part of in the past will get into the substance and the issues that healthcare in general and healthcare systems and technology providers are dealing with. I think you have the people around the table to actually get to solutions at the conference. That's not typical in most settings because they're usually larger events. And this smaller environment allows for people to really problem solve together.
Totally agree, and I know last year that was one of the highlights for many is being able to have elbows on the table and engage to solve some of the big challenges that patients and providers and those in healthcare are facing right now.
As referenced at the beginning, you are a very loyal sponsor of, this will be our 6th event this year that we'll be holding. And I did reference that you both co-head your digital healthcare practice. What else would you like those who are listening or watching to know about your specific role in healthcare?
Well, we appreciate that. At McDermott, we are not the typical law firm. First, because we have a healthcare practice that's been around for over 40 years. That's highly unusual. We have about almost 150 lawyers that are engaged in healthcare and life sciences on a full-time basis. And we are focused on identifying the issues and finding the solutions for clients, but not just in the typical legal law firm way, but in a way that where we understand the business and operating aspects. So the solutions that we're proposing or working with clients to help build are embedded with practicality and business reality. And I think given the complexity of healthcare and its nuances and idiosyncrasies, we have a lot of experience across the board with people in every sort of nook and cranny of the industry across the continuum and know how one part relates to the other. And that's where we focus our solutions, which are often legal in nature, but they definitely have a business context to them.
Yeah, we've seen time and time again your experience far exceed, I think, many in the industry as we've worked on several projects and partnerships, and look forward to continuing that here in the future, Steve and Dale.
Thank you. Very kind to say that. Appreciate it.
One of the topics we'll be covering this year at DHIS is payer-provider friction, and we'll be looking into just technology that is helping to facilitate trust between payers and providers. And Dale, we have you as our moderator for that panel at DHIS this year. Where do you feel the industry is going in that regard?
Well, thanks for that question. It's a great question, and it's one that I think is perfect for DHIS, and I know we're going to have a great panel discussion around it. Trust is an issue for technology in healthcare, and of course, trust is a traditional point of contention, call it, between payers and providers, traditionally in terms of the dynamic they have of working together. At the same time, we've never seen payers and providers having more of an incentive to come together and work together to solve some of the problems in healthcare, and they're supported by payment systems that are coming into effect to support their working together, as well as the natural market forces that are coming into effect and forcing them to work together. Technology in healthcare faces a similar dilemma when it comes to trust. There is some distrust out there, particularly when it comes to data sharing. But at the same time, the industry has never been more in need of the kind of solutions that information technology can bring than now. So bringing those two areas together and thinking about how technology itself can bring trust to the relationship between payers and providers, I think is a fascinating subject. And I think it's one that's right, because I think we are seeing the broader healthcare sector increasingly adopting technology, finding ways to trust that technology in order to support the new relationships that they are building that need to be built on foundations of trust. And so technology's role in that dynamic is very interesting. And again, I think we're going to have a great discussion.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, Dale, and excited to have you obviously moderate that panel. As you look outside of payer provider and you look at healthcare today and then ultimately where it's going, where do you see the industry focused right now?
Well, right now, of course, the industry, I think, is reacting to some of the issues that have been uncovered during the course of the pandemic and perhaps even exacerbated by the pandemic, things like staffing shortages and burnout and the challenges around retention. All of that really is, there front and center, particularly on the provider side of the community, and where a lot of attention is being focused. And I think it's not something that is just an outcome from the pandemic, but it is really, these are issues that we've really been dealing with for quite some time. And so I think that focus will not only help the industry respond to, I think, what we view as largely what has come from the pandemic, but also set the industry up well for providing more long-term solutions to the problems that it faces. We do, and we've had for years, this crisis in staffing when it comes to nursing, when it comes to physicians. It's been there for a long time. And unless we solve for it, we're going to have real problems in the healthcare system in the United States. And of course, technology can play a very significant role in solving for those problems.
Absolutely. The key word, I think, or operative word you use, it has been exacerbated, but there are continual challenges that we face. And many of those that you've brought to the attention of this discussion today will be a focal point of DHIS as we get elbows on the table and discuss some of those challenges and hopefully find some solutions that everyone can point towards.
Absolutely. So as we round out our time today, Dale, what would you share with those who may be considering DHIS?
Well, what I would say is, I'll just, the lessons that I've learned going to DHIS and what I've taken from it. So number one is go in with big ears. The things you will hear in your conversations on the panels, you're always going to be surprised. You're always going to get a perspective that you didn't expect to see. Number two, participate. Because just as you're going to be hearing new things and creative things, you're going to be contributing to that sort of creativity by bringing your ideas to the table, and people listening to you They're going to be surprised by what you hear and inspired by your creativity. So listening and participating, I think, are critical to really getting out of DHIS what you want to get out of it. And importantly, I think if you do those things, you're going to have a lot of fun and you're going to meet some great people and have a great time. Really is an opportunity to mix and mingle with people who are really bringing their creativity, bringing their thoughtfulness to the conference. And it's just a fantastic use of your time.
Well, we thank you both for spending time. It's less than 60 days away. We look forward to your attendance, and again, your moderating here in Park City in just a couple of months. We do have a few seats that are still available for the event, while availability is limited. If those who are listening or watching today are interested to learn more about the event or would like to register, you can go to classresearch.com/events. Until then, September 13th and 14th in Park City, Utah, we look forward to your attendance.